Welcome back to the Kevin O'Connor Show. Tonight, joining me to discuss the Knicks extending the series against the Pacers to go at Game 6, it's Tom Haberstroh. Tom, what up?
Landry Shamet. Landry Shamet. MSG popping off. Getting Landry Shamet chants at Madison Square Garden. We're here, Kev.
You mentioned Landry Shamet. 14 minutes in the game. DeLon Wright, 10 minutes. Miles McBride, 18 minutes. Tom Thibodeau going into his bench, Tom, to win the game.
Listen, man, I thought he would never switch up the starting lineup. He did that after a couple games in this series, switching up with Mitchell Robinson going in the starting lineup. Tom Thibodeau is loosening up, man. Like, this guy was insistent on playing the five-man unit with Josh Hart in there next to Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Cat, and Brunson all season long for about 47 to 48 minutes every game. And then here in the playoffs, in this series against the Pacers, he's opened up the rotation. He started adding more Landry Shamet minutes. DeLon Wright, Deuce McBride. These guys, yes, Deuce McBride has been a part of the rotation in the regular season, but Shamet was awesome in this game and has been for this series. I think there's something like plus 30 in this series with Landry Shamet onto the floor. And this is a big adjustment for Tom Thibodeau. It's a new look for him. We've never seen Thibodeau be so open-minded to giving these guys minutes, and it's given Brunson a lot of rest. Campaign is out of the rotation, and I do think that Thibodeau going deeper into this bench has kind of changed the series a little bit here.
So do you think this is the number one factor here with Tom with, the Knicks win this game, that we're going to have a Game 6 on Saturday night in Indy, and I'm sure it's going to be a crazy crowd, and it's going to be intense. Pacers are going to be feeling pressure. I think like Reggie Miller or Van Gundy said at the end of the game, that's kind of their Game 7, right? Like, it's your Game 7 at home. You got to close it out. You don't want to go back to New York. How much of it is it Thibodeau going deeper into the bench versus the defense on Halliburton versus Brunson just having 30 points entering the fourth quarter, like dominating his matchup after having some struggles against Nesmith throughout the series? How much do you think it's the bench versus some of these other factors?
It was all about physicality. Like, I joke about the Landry Shamet chants and all that. It was a lot of fun to watch him jawing to the audience and all that. But, like, it was all about physicality. Like, that has been the word of the postseason. The referees let a lot of things go in this one. But I will say this. The physicality that the Knicks showed, the pressure on the ball, around the paint, 58 point paints by the New York Knicks in this game, over 20 more points than the Indiana Pacers. They had 8 and 1s. The New York Knicks got fouled and made the bucket 8 times in this one, including a 4-point play by Jalen Brunson when Obi Toppin just got into his landing zone and he got the and 1 on the 3-pointer. Like, this was, from start to finish, a very perplexing performance by the Indiana Pacers that are normally super disciplined, never turn the ball over, had more turnovers in this game than they've had in the entire postseason in any game. And so this was a very uncharacteristic performance from a very steely Indiana Pacers that never turn the ball over and don't get out physical in this series. Like, going into this game, Jalen Brunson was having a tough time asserting himself against Tyrese Halliburton and against this Indiana Pacers defense. And according to 82games.com, Kev, 82games.com, run by Roland Beach, the former director of analytics for the Dallas Mavericks, won a championship with the Dallas Mavericks. He's now doing hand-charting physicality plays, whether it's push-offs, knockdowns, any sort of boxing out, any sort of physicality plays, hand charting it. And he's actually showing that in this series, going into Game 5, Tyrese Halliburton had the much stronger, upper hand when it comes to the physicality plays. Jalen Brunson had been knocked down onto the ground 34 times in this series compared to just 11 by Tyrese Halliburton. And from the start of this game, Miles Turner turning over the ball, they were out of their sync. They were in a total funk, and a lot of it was because the Knicks came out to play and wanted to force a Game 6 with that physicality. And I know all my buddies back home love to see the Knicks bringing this blue-collar lunch pail attitude, that they're out being way more physical. And Karl Anthony Towns was just going right at the Pacers defense, and just one of these LeBron James flexing positions. He did that about every other play tonight. Just a great game from the New York Knicks. Took the Indiana Pacers out of their game.
So in this series, Tom, like you talk about physicality, part of physicality is scheme and the choices a defense is making. And we saw the Knicks tonight blitzing, hedging, pressuring Halliburton off ball, basically forcing everybody else to beat them in the game. With the Knicks, I felt like they executed that plan perfectly against Halliburton, first of all. But how much of it do you think is Halliburton's lack of aggression there? Should he have done a better job at creating shots? I hear Reggie Miller on the broadcast saying Halliburton too passive. Halliburton has passive games. I don't view this as one of those passive games as much as like the Pacers weirdly almost just kind of seemed shocked by it. Like it made me think of, remember the NBA Cup final against the Lakers, and the Lakers are blitzing the ball out of Halliburton's hands with AD out in the perimeter. LeBron James help defense down low, very aggressive against Halliburton. It made me think about that with Halliburton and how the Pacers responded to it.
Yeah, remember game 3 against Cleveland? He was way out of it. 4 points. He had 11 games this season, which he didn't break double-digit scoring. It's just, he has this Jekyll and Hyde act that kind of dogged him in the first half of the season, where you don't know what kind of Tyrese Halliburton you're going to get. And after the calendar year switched to 2025, we didn't see that as much. He was a lot more consistent, but this was kind of one of those games where Tyrese Halliburton looks like he's just out of it. You know, he had a perfect game again, Kev. 0 turnovers, but 6 assists. And it wasn't a great performance from him. Just 8 points and 2 of 7 shooting, 0 of 2 from downtown. Wasn't assertive, but I think a lot of it also, Miles Turner from the jump, 2 turnovers to start the game. A lot of bonehead plays from him. Nembhard just hasn't been himself. Nesmith was fine. I just think that Jalen Brunson, the way he started this game, Kev, getting the Knicks' confidence up and making them feel like, hey, we can still win this series one game at a time. Halliburton, it looks like he just wanted to win this in Indiana. Like it just didn't seem like he was himself in this one after such an unbelievable game with the 30-plus points, the 15 assists, the 4 steals, double-digit rebounds. This is a guy.
They weren't blitzing him that game, though, Tom.
Well, this is where guys like Nembhard or Miles Turner have to step up. Siakam has to step up. If you're going to blitz Tyrese Halliburton, the rest of the team has to step up. They didn't have a guy in double figures, Kev, until like late in the third quarter. It's absurd. This team, the stat I had like a week ago was that this is the first team since Larry Bird's Celtics that have had 5 starters all averaging 14 points plus in the postseason. Through 10 games, they had 5 starters, all of them averaging at least 14 points a game. And they didn't have a double-digit score until basically the fourth quarter with Pascal Siakam. He was the only guy in the starting lineup double-digit scoring at 15, but it was a very anonymous 15 points. So it seemed like the game was decided by the physicality and deciding to try to just bully, not just Tyrese Halliburton with the ball and try to get the ball out of his hands, but also on the other end, just go right at the paint, 58 paint points, and the numbers around the rim were insane. Like the Pacers just couldn't get anything going. They just looked totally out of this. And you know what? Like, they've earned it going up 3-1. They've allowed just one of these games probably under their belt to have the worst game of their postseason. First time they haven't scored at least 100 points in a game. But the Knicks, they feel like right now they've figured out something, is bullying, doubling, trying to blitz Tyrese Halliburton and try to get the ball out of his hands. I think Nembhard, Nesmith, Miles Turner, these guys are too good to have another goose egg in this game 6 in Indiana. I think the Knicks did a great job in trying to get this series extended, but I don't know if there's too much here. It just seems so uncharacteristic by the Indiana Pacers for them to feel like they can't come back in game 6.
Sure. And I think part of it, a lot of Obi Toppin tonight. screening for Halliburton. And I think Indiana in game 6, you're going to see more Siakam, more Nembhard screening for Tyrese Halliburton, because those are guys that can make plays out of the short roll. Obi Toppin is not that guy. Neesmith is more of a guy who's going to slip out of that screen and flare out for a three-pointer. But Nembhard and Siakam setting screens for Halliburton is what I think would be more effective against this blitzing type of defense. And honestly, I'm a bit surprised we didn't see more of that in the second half of this game, because it felt like the Pacers were making some little runs, but every time the Knicks responded. And you got to give the Knicks credit, man. They blew a historic lead in this game. And like, your mind can go there, right?
Oh yeah, but it was going there.
They took those punches. They took those punches and kept punching back, punching more in this game. And the Knicks showed a lot of resilience. But you did say, Tom, you feel like the Knicks might have figured something out. Do you feel like we're going to get a game 7 at this point, or are you expecting Indiana to make the proper adjustments, resolve things, and close this out on Saturday night?
Yeah, they really slowed the game down. The average seconds per possession for the New York Knicks, they tried to make this in the 90s rather than try to play up and down, which is the way that the Pacers want to play. Their average seconds per possession was about 17, almost 18 seconds, which is absurd. Like, the Pacers do not want to slow the game down. They want to get up tempo. They want to turn you over and try to beat you in the open court with those leakouts from Pascal Siakam and Obi Toppin. I hated Toppin's shot selection in this game. A lot of times rushed shots, trying to play hero ball. I don't know what he was thinking, whether this was just Madison Square Garden. He felt like he had that epic dunk in game 1 that he wanted to show New York Knicks that he is, the guy that they drafted, and felt like he wanted to make a statement. But this was a game that it just wasn't. It wasn't Indiana Pacers basketball, and the Knicks slowed the game down. They responded positively, I think, by stretching the rotation a little bit. They're getting more energy out of those guys, and you're not getting run down Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, who had some really boneheaded plays too. I talked about Miles Turner, Karl-Anthony Towns picking up his 4th foul early and then not running back on defense on a couple plays. It just, those things can be excused when Jalen Brunson, man, he's so good. He's so good, and he was in command tonight in ways that Knicks fans were hoping to see after Tyrese Halliburton did an outstanding game 4. Jalen Brunson stepped up, but I do think them trying to slow the game down and play at their pun intended pace, that is how the Knicks are going to figure this thing out in game 6. They cannot let the Indiana Pacers get out in transition, and they did a great job of slowing the game down and playing in the mud.
Brunson, 32 points. Cat, 24. Bridges, outstanding defensively on Tyrese Halliburton. Bench guys did their job. Mitchell Robinson came out third quarter. Awesome stretch for him at the start of the third quarter. Knicks did their job to extend the lead, to extend the series to a game 6. The Timberwolves did not do that the other night, Tom. And that series is over. And now OKC, they get more time again to rest up, more time again to prepare for whoever their opponent very well may be next Thursday, game 1 of the NBA Finals. Once again, OKC takes care of business early, and they get time. Just like round 1, they get rid of the Memphis Grizzlies. Obviously, they go to 7 in round 2 against the Denver Nuggets, but they finish off the Timberwolves in 5. I thought we might have like a Super Bowl style bye week with the Pacers closing things out tonight and no game until next Thursday. And like, it would be like kind of like a lot of hype leading up to Thursday, a lot of time off. But no, like, there's a chance the Knicks win Saturday and we get a game 7 on Monday. That's not out of the question at this point.
No, definitely not out of the question. It definitely isn't. And if you're OKC, this is great. Get these Pacers tired. Get the Knicks tired. Like, go to a game 7. We saw what the Pacers did in game 7 last year at Madison Square Garden. Just blew them out. So even if they do lose game 6, I don't think this is over. I do think that the Pacers will win game 6, but OKC, that defense, It's just what they did to Anthony Edwards and what they did to Julius Randle in the second half of that series. The physicality, it's the name of the playoffs. This is the brand of basketball that the New York Knicks came out with in Game 5. They were physical. They were daring the referees to call fouls in the same way that OKC has done all season long. Look, there's this recognition in the NBA. You talk to coaches, you talk to players. You even like hear it from the league office sometimes. It's just this admission that like the referees can't call everything. They can't call every foul out there. And so far this postseason, you're seeing that the Oklahoma City Thunder are just daring the referees to call every single foul, knowing that the Thunder have like 10, 12 players that they can go deep. Like they're not going to be in foul trouble because every guy they bring off the bench, they have confidence to not lose any ground with the deep bench. And with Tom Thibodeau, it was always like, oh no, if Karl Anthony Towns gets in foul trouble, what are they going to do? If Mitchell Robinson gets in foul trouble, what are they going to do? If Jalen Brunson gets in foul trouble, what are they going to do? And now that Thibodeau has realized, oh, Shamet can play here and there. DeLon Wright, the reason why they brought him in is to give him these spot minutes, and they've done really well. I just feel like the Pacers are a better team, and I would love to see a Pacers-Thunder series, if only just because of the offense. You know, the Pacers are right around 50% shooting from the floor, 40% from downtown. An amazing offense, a strength versus strength series, and the Knicks would be strength versus strength in the sense of a great offense going against a elite all-time, in my opinion, the best defense in NBA history in the Oklahoma City Thunder. Both of these teams, the Knicks and the Pacers, want to play an offensive brand basketball and get a lot of shots up and make you play your best defense against them, because this Knicks team is built for offense. Same with the Pacers. And you know what? OKC has just disposed a lot of great offensive teams, and I would love to see this series. Either way, we're going to have a great finals.
Who do you think puts up a better fight against the Thunder?
I think it's the Pacers, because the only way you're gonna stop the Thunder is to try to get them out in the open court. You're not gonna beat them in a half court.
Did the Knicks show something though tonight? Like I mean, we're gonna see OKC swarmed Jokic in Game 7 after using different coverages against him throughout the series. They adjusted throughout the series. They changed the way they defended Ant in the series against Minnesota, again, blitzing the hell out of him in the final game, close him out, get rid of him. It's over, giving you no life. I would expect they're going to be doing that at some point against Halliburton if it's the Pacers, but then again, you could say the same thing if it's against Brunson and the Knicks.
I think there's a real chance that the Thunder sweep either one of these teams.
I think
that's
so too.
How good
that's the way I feel about it as well. Mm-hmm.
I think I felt this way, and I've said it here on this show, Kev. I think they were running away with this thing. Even with Jason Tatum didn't tear his Achilles, I thought that the Thunder would have won that series. And just that defense is that good. The way that I look at this team, the Thunder look like they have 6 players against 5 at all times. That's how they play defense. Is you're just like, is there another guy out there? How do they get such good rotations after putting 2-3 guys on the ball? And it doesn't seem like they're missing any on the rotations. They're so fast, they're so hungry, and they're so disciplined. I just think that no matter who comes out of the East, they were going to win that series. But if it's Indiana and the Knicks, I got to believe that maybe it gets to 5 games and it could be a sweep.
You know what's interesting, Tom? I don't know if you've experienced this in your life at all, but some people in my life, friends who were like OKC haters entering the postseason, have really grown to respect them, especially after the last 2 rounds. The way they beat Denver and the way they beat Minnesota, and especially in regard to what they did to Ant. Have you seen that at all as well, where people are like, yeah, you know what? I actually do like OKC. I actually do like watching OKC, whereas before it was, oh, SGA flops, this young team, this and that. Because that's my experience with friends, like in chats and, you know, real life friends I've known for over half my life. Well, have you seen that as well?
Oh, yeah, and especially the way that they played closing out that series at home and seeing that crowd and seeing the way that they're beloved in OKC, I think you can feel it. just watching this team is that they're on another level. They're young, they're charismatic, like the way that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander talks to the media at the press conferences and the confidence that he imbues on the entire team, and the way that they do those post-game press conferences, the way that the crowd is just like a college atmosphere. I just love it. I wrote the column for Yahoo Sports halfway through the season. I felt like this was America's team. If you love defense, if you love the mid-range, if you love the way that the youth that they play with, that they don't seem like their average age is 24 years old, the way that they play with such energy, all of the misconceptions about the league, you don't play defense, the referees, it's just a really annoying brand of basketball. Dude, they hit so many shots. Jalen Williams, the way he can take over a game, and the Chet Holmgren play, Isaiah Hartenstein, the way that they get after it and play defense. Like the big misnomer about the NBA is they don't play defense. It's just guys are so good offensively now. The game is so skilled on the offensive end. It's hard to imagine a team being that good defensively, and OKC is that team. They play so hard, and they really care about getting into your jersey and playing such hard defense. I think, this is a great, great testament to team building, development, and coaching. And I think America needs to really pay attention to this Thunder. It's everything we want the NBA to be. Is they play together, they play hard defensively, and man, they play to the crowd. I love watching the Thunder play basketball.
Legend of winning, friend of the show, he had a good post on X this week, and he said, small market, all-time defense, plays double big lineups, mid-range shooting star, not a super team. Isn't this what everyone wanted?
That's exactly right.
I mean, and that's the thing. I think people are realizing that. The people who were anti-OKC are now coming to respect that. And you mentioned just how good they are at home, and the energy they have at home, and the way that crowd, and then like it becomes almost like a six-man, Tom. Bill Simmons, my former boss, had a great post about that as well. Bill said OKC is 8-1 at home in the playoffs. They won those games by 51, 19, 43, 7, 32, 36, 15, and 30. In the one loss, game one against Denver, they were up 9 with 3 minutes left and lost by 2. So they're plus 231 in 9 home games. That's crazy, Tom. That's wild. I mean, I this team is unfreaking believable. And look, I hope Indiana or New York can take it to them, and we get a epic NBA Finals with an all-time defense being challenged by a great offense with a fun point guard, whether it's Halliburton or Brunson, and a bunch of cool role players. I hope we get that. But I'm thinking OKC finishes this off really, really fast in 4, or at home, which would be really appropriate, in 5 games. That's what I'm thinking, Tom.
Yeah, and they're going to have home court advantage there too. And the crazy thing is they're just getting started. Like if you aren't aware of how good this Thunder team is, get in now, because we're going to be watching this Oklahoma City Thunder team potentially contending for championships for the next decade. And I'm not being hyperbolic here. Is that Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, all of the picks. Oh, by the way, Nikola Topic, one of the top prospects in last year's draft. They also have that guy coming back from his injury that sidelined him for the entire season. So it's just like, it's kind of at this point, it's kind of comical how many assets they have to continue reloading this thing. And who knows what happens, who they're going to be able to get this offseason. But I do know they had 2 holes last year. Is they're rebounding, and they got Isaiah Hartenstein signed to that deal after what he did for New York last year. And then they got maybe the best perimeter defender and a leader and a guy who won a championship in 2020. They got that guy to kind of lead the team in terms of experience and that veteran, that voice in the locker room. They got him in Alex Caruso. So like Sam Presti and his ability to analyze what this team needs, how to build this team over time, it's a master class. And I feel like if you're not on the bandwagon now, or you're not wise to how good this team is, You better get on now because they're going to be on national TV a lot next year, and they are going to be here for a very long time. I can convince you of that.
They sure are, Tom. Our next podcast together will be next Thursday night after game 1 of the NBA Finals between the Thunder and either the Knicks or the Pacers. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's here, baby. Let's go.
Thanks for joining me, Tom. Have a good night.